Many WNBA fans are calling out the referee problem.
The referees literally turned their back.
Caitlin Clark appears to be hunted every game. She deals with physicality that no other player in the league is dealing with. The WNBA not stepping in to protect their cash cow, their only draw, their only star, and this is the end result.
They assured them that she would transform the league. They hailed her as the future's face, but none anticipated that the league itself may be her greatest challenge. Caitlin Clark went from being the WNBA's most adored poster child to becoming the public's #1 opponent on the court in just a few games. It's stunning that she will be out for at least 2 weeks due to a quad injury. Now, it's clear how Caitlin Clark was injured. Fouls are cheating for the 4th time. Caitlin Clark is the main reason why people are interested in the WNBA and the franchise. Caitlin Clark, a rookie, received multiple deliberate fouls, not only from opposing teams. This was not your typical situation of a rookie going through growth pains. What transpired appeared far more calculated and risky. Fans and coaches of WNBA players constantly gripe about the refs after every game, and they have demonstrated that they have no intention of changing anything because the officials are still appalling. The referees, who were meant to maintain fairness, stood by like extras in a lousy drama while Caitlin suffered knocks, was pushed to the ground, and had to play through a sea of missed whistles game after game. What began as sporadic mistakes swiftly turned into a widespread problem of no calls, allowing flagrant fouls to continue when Clark hit the deck. To show your support, leave a comment below with "Protect CC down." Stephanie White is the head coach for Feline. She was griping about her team not being respected and receiving a raise, but then nobody wanted to. Fans began recreating every uncalled foul, unchecked body check, and look, Caitlin gave the umpires pleading for a whistle that never came when she was sidelined with a quad injury. She has a quad strain and will be out for at least 2 weeks. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham attempted to ask the officials for an explanation of what had just happened, but the official flatly refused them. It began to appear purposeful and less like poor luck. As the discussion reached a fever pitch, additional reports started to surface, revealing exactly how dysfunctional the officiating system is. This is a WNBA issue, and as more people watch this league, the officiating gets more and more problematic. You never really understand what it will be. As it happens, a large number of the league's referees were taken from, you guessed it, high school leagues, and they aren't even using their own discretion while calling games. No, the league depends on GMs, coaches, and other stakeholders communicating to officials behind closed doors how physically they want games to be played, but the refs are not paying attention. They aren't paying attention to the coaches. They aren't paying attention to the players. The fans aren't being heard. Their stakeholders are being heard. For this reason, I keep stressing that nothing will change unless the mindset and the individuals in charge of this, the stakeholders' governance, change. And in the midst of this pandemonium, where influence, ego, and money meet, is Caitlin Clark. The WNBA is finally feeling the heat after weeks of mounting indignation, with viral videos going viral and even coaches and players speaking out. If this injury has any effect, it should serve as a warning to the WNBA, Players Association, and team owners that all of the excitement, enthusiasm, and newly discovered attention for the league might go in an instant. The league's golden goose might turn into its biggest liability if it doesn't take immediate action in light of rumors and lawsuits circulating concerning referee prejudice. And now for the crucial question: to shut down the same player they have been profiting from since day one, how far will they go? Despite being roughed up, Caitlin Clark is experiencing bodily wear and tear. It doesn't surprise me that she has already had an injury 2 weeks into the season. Caitlin Clark is a person who never backs down. Upon returning to Iowa, she transformed women's hoops into primetime television, attracted millions of viewers, and rewrote the record books. Everyone anticipated pyrotechnics when she joined the WNBA, not only from her performance but also from the enthusiasm she would create for a league in dire need of a miracle. The WNBA saw an unparalleled increase in viewership in 2024, much of which can be ascribed to Caitlin Clark, who, following an incredible collegiate career in which she played in 185 straight games during her tenure at Iowa and her stint with the Indiana Fever, 139 games with the Iowa Hawkeyes, caught the basketball world by storm. She never missed one, and it was functioning for a moment. Attendance skyrocketed. TV ratings reached all-time highs. However, Clark was greeted with an elbows-up attitude and animosity right away rather than the league showing her the red carpet. Last season, Caitlin Clark was in charge of 26.5% of the WNBA's total revenue, which included money from television, merchandise, and ticket sales. Caitlin Clark is now absent for at least 2 weeks. However, will the WNBA be able to continue without her? Arena attendance was not solely focused on basketball when she first started playing professionally. It was intimate. Each game was like a gauntlet. She received full-court pressure, off-ball hacks, and floor contact that belonged in a rugby battle rather than a basketball game, and the referees were nowhere to be seen. The defenders weren't just protecting her, they were bodying her like it was UFC fight night. For Clark, contact that would have resulted in a whistle for any other elite player received nothing. She often had to clench her teeth and persevere. The world was witnessing how awful the cause was, and the refs just showed their hands so badly, bro. I mean, they didn't care anymore. They didn't give a damn. They were determined to overcome the fever no matter what, and I can tell you that's exactly what happened, buddy. Their goal is to harm Caitlin Clark. The league continued to follow the same stale path. She simply needs to adapt, but why is it always her responsibility to change? Why is Caitlin Clark the only celebrity advised to get tougher while everyone else is given crown jewel protection, and then she gets hurt? Caitlin was ruled out with a left quad strain after playing game after game for an incredible amount of time, often up to 35 minutes every night, for at least 2 weeks. Critics claim that the individuals criticizing are new fans who don't understand the WNBA and that's why they haven't watched it before, but there is obviously a problem. It wasn't merely a failure. It was a devastating blow to Indiana Fever and a huge defeat for the WNBA as a whole. And for many fans, it didn't feel like a freak accident, rather, it felt like the cost of carelessness, the culmination of a season of unbridled aggression, and a league that failed to look out for the only player who was stealing the show. Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark has suffered a left quadricep strain and will be sidelined for at least 2 weeks. This was a catastrophe that could have been prevented, not some inevitable turn of events. The utter quiet was what made it hurt even more. Regarding the beatings Caitlin Clark had been receiving, the league said nothing. No excuses or remarks, just another name added to the list of injuries, but this wasn't just any name. This represented the new age of the WNBA. She was seated not because she couldn't withstand the heat, but rather because the system that was supposed to protect her turned its back on her. It's Caitlin Clark's disrespect, and by that I mean that you have someone who is unquestionably the most well-liked basketball player. You have someone who, in my opinion, is among the top 5 most well-known athletes in the US. Okay? Your system is broken against that team, and you have this guy in a league that no one has been following and that has never made money. Even the court's members alluded to the problem. A teammate of Kelsey Mitchell Clark gently urged her to pay attention to her body's signals, a subtle acknowledgement that Caitlin was enduring suffering that most people would avoid. Fans took note. It was brought to light by media outlets, and now the main questions are why the league's best player was left so exposed and who benefits from her absence. Kelsey Mitchell, however, stated that even if there is an injury, hopefully it's just a minor nagging issue. Once more, take care of your body and experience. Recovery, in my opinion, is everything. If you're aware of your body, you know what it needs. Caitlin is here. Examining the WNBA's officiating in greater detail exposes an unsettling truth. The referees are not only inexperienced, they are also underqualified. Some have entered the WNBA directly from high school, skipping important developmental phases like college or the NBA league. These are not seasoned professionals with years of experience. Instead, they are frequently learning the ropes while officiating the most competitive games the league has ever witnessed. This inexperience is particularly noticeable when it comes to handling the league's most talked-about players, Caitlin Clark. They don't discuss it here, so I don't want us to personally criticize any of these referees either. I believe they're doing their jobs if they're hiring referees who essentially have no experience other than high school refereeing jobs and then a stint in the G League. These referees aren't, I realized, and I reaffirmed to myself that not much will change, but the rabbit hole goes deeper. These officials are not making decisions only on the basis of their discretion. Behind the scenes, a competition committee that includes coaches, general managers, and stakeholders is deciding how games should be officiated. This committee is made up of people who have a stake in particular results rather than being objective. League insiders have verified this in interviews, so it's not just conjecture. Referees are being trained on how physical they may be, which fouls to call first, and what kind of play fits the league's image rather than just what's fair.